All right, welcome into Halftime Hits brought to you by BroadwaySportsMedia.com. Joining me today, Jonathan is out and about here today. Joining me today, Easton Freeze. Welcome to Halftime Hits, man. We try to hit it hard and fast and try to get to a lot of topics as we can. It is 16-13 New England, and if you would have asked me if this was going to be the score 5 minutes ago, or 10 minutes ago, I probably would have called you a liar. But here we are, Titans with a big run from Hilliard to get them back in it. Easton, what are you seeing so far from this Titans offense?
Well, they're doing a lot of the stuff we talked about them needing to do before the game, right? The quick passing game, a lot of screens, a lot of dumping it off, taking the yards that New England's defense is giving them, and the pass production has been just good enough to give Ryan Tannehill time to make some of these throws. The running game obviously has gotten going in a similar fashion to the way that we saw it last week against Houston, right? We saw them get that running game going with Foreman and Hilliard as the two-headed monster back there. Hilliard breaking off that big one, that touchdown desperately needed by the Titans.
Big time.
Changes the entire shape of the game going into the second half.
Yeah, and Titans right here, 3 points down, missed 4 points total in the kicking game, as Raymond points out here in the chat, and that's one of the big differences. The other big difference is the Titans defense started off pretty good, but then it looks like Mac Jones, who is 15 for 21 for 206 yards with a touchdown, seemed to be finding some of the seams, getting a little lucky. It looks like Kevin Byard let him off the hook on one. Some other things going that way. Penalties not really going in Titans fashion with a fumble. Some things bouncing that way. So you can look at it two ways. Either the big run from Hilliard brought the Titans what was a dismal game back into it and actually gave them a chance here. Or, the Titans are making little mistakes here and there that are keeping the Patriots into it, because I don't think the Patriots have been the dominating factor here. But on defense, with them not getting to Mac's having some pretty quick releases. There's been a couple throws to Bolden out of the backfield. Why are the Patriots being able to find such success against the Titans defense in the middle of the field going 20-20?
Well, I think that they're exposing the Titans secondary. Like you said, the safeties have let Mac Jones off the hook a couple of times on a couple of those passes, but he has been hitting guys that are wide open. Like we've been talking about, Mac Jones hits wide open guys, that whether they're schemed open or whether that's the defense not doing their job, he is hitting these guys. And it's interesting. You look at the box score, the Patriots have 206 passing yards to the Titans 71.
Mm-hmm.
The Titans have 142 rushing yards to the Patriots 23. And coming into this game, you probably would have talked about this Patriots team, their running offense being the thing that you would want to shut down. And the Titans' run defense certainly is better than their pass defense, granted, but holding this considered really potent New England run attack to only 26 yards in the first half, not only is a win for the Titans, but I'd imagine that's exactly how they drew it up in the game planning for this meeting, right? They probably were saying, let's force Mac Jones to win it through the air. And so far, he's done well enough through the air. The Titans' defensive secondary has to do a better job, especially on the back end. You can't allow, if you're going to play zone like they have been a decent amount of this game, you can't allow guys to sit down in those pockets and the safeties let them get away with those big chunk completions, really easy, wide open passes.
Right. So Mac is finding some of those holes, and the defense, it seems to be around the ball and chance to make plays. As Max points out here, interior pressure not as good as we've seen most of the year. And that's fine. That's been a little bit the same the last couple of games as well, right? The defensive pressure not getting there. They're not really doing anything too bad. The one time they did get some pressure on Mac Jones, they brought Byard down off a safety blitz. They've been bringing some blitzes trying to get to him a little bit. But I think that what you want to do against the rookie quarterback as well is they're sitting back there trying to let him make a mistake at some point in time. And as I think Jonathan Boren pointed out in our chat before or during the first half, that Byard let him off the hook on that one. So, I mean, you could look at this a couple ways that Mac Jones is looking to give that away. But you have a great point about the running game. Damien Harris, 5 for 8 yards. That's a big win right there. And we talked about this before the game as well. If you can control the Patriots running game and take that out of the way and keep forcing Mac to feed it, because you're forcing field goals. Well, even on these drives, the defense could look better. They're forcing field goals out of the Patriots, which is keeping the Titans in it. So as long as the Titans can come back out here, the Patriots are going to get the ball first. What are you hoping to see the Titans do a little bit on defense in the second half as the Patriots come out with the ball?
Well, they got to do what they primarily their job in a game like this, and in these games they've had the last couple of weeks. Their primary objective has been allow the other team to move the ball between the 20s, but you must force them out of the end zone, right? Stopping them for punts or forcing 3 points instead of 7 is the thesis of this bend don't break defense. The Titans have executed relatively well the last couple weeks, and they're doing a good job of that so far. Like you said, you get a fumble from Dontrell Hilliard in Patriots territory, and you you force the Patriots to kick a field goal instead of get 7. They forced a couple of field goals here when the Patriots, seemingly could have gotten, they would have gotten 7 if Mac Jones had been on target to that Hunter Henry pass, had his guy beat. But listen, they're doing a good job. They have to do a better job in the secondary, like we said before. They can't allow for such easy passes for Mac Jones. We've been saying this all week. Mac Jones, he's playing really well, but a big part of that is he's getting to pass to really wide open guys. So if they can force Mac Jones to make passes into smaller windows, you might see a little bit of that rookie streak come out.
Right, exactly. And you mentioned the missed pass to Hunter Henry. Well, Tannehill had a missed pass to Chester Rogers. Looked like there's a little
They
bit of
did trade
miscommunication on
bad
the
misses.
route. So that little
Yeah.
little misses there, which I'm not sure if Rogers gets in the end zone if it's on point or if he's a little bit farther outside, but definitely gives them a chance to convert on that 3rd and 4. And then we don't have to worry about the doinked field goal for the second hit. We
Right.
joked also that if he hits the goalpost for a 3rd time, he's either mad or he's just very accurate today towards the goalpost.
True. It's true. And it's ridiculous. It's the most Titans thing ever, right? Today of all days is not the day the Titans can afford to have these kicker problems.
Right. They needed this is one of those days where they didn't need everything to be perfect, but they did need to shoot themselves in the foot. And the missed kicks, the fumble, obviously shooting yourself in the foot. I think that the missed
Couple
pass
penalties.
from Tannehill, these aren't the biggest of deals in a typical NFL game, right? Teams get fumbles, teams miss passes. But with the Titans pressing right now, with the last couple of weeks of how they looked, and especially last week, everything feels like it's this big over can't overcome this mountain that they're putting in front of them. So just have to we have to also see them get Ferkser involved a little more. The Patriots are doing a good job getting their backs involved in the receiving game, as we stated before, getting them out these screens. I would love to see them try to ride the hot-handed Hilliard a little bit, get him involved in the pass game as well. Use some of those short passes as runs in a pass form, so you get those short, easy completions for Tannehill, and quit trying to force him to throw over the middle all the time. Because I think that Tannehill's still kind of pressing a little bit, trying to get targets in there. But you got to think that he's starting to get a little bit of comfortable with Nick Westbrook-Ikhine as well, with the relationship they have with the crawling into the end zone. Apparently, the refs thought it was college rules and not down. I hate that Vrabel had to waste a call there. So it looks like my camera just went off, but we're going to keep it going with the sound. So Easton, covered on defense. On offense, I've given my thoughts. What do you hope to see the offense once they stop the Patriots and get the ball back?
Well, obviously they have to continue to protect the ball, which they've done a decent job in the first half of, outside of that fumble by Dontrell Hilliard. Listen, they're doing a good job. Like I said, we came into this game talking just before the kickoff about how the Titans offense has to be successful with some things that they haven't necessarily done a whole lot in the past, right? They have to do a lot of that short pass game. They have to do a lot of interesting things with the quick dump off passes to running backs, like you said, out of the backfield, screen passes. I agree that Nick Westbrook-Ikhine has, I think, pretty clearly developed a bit of a rapport with Ryan Tannehill, and that's going to service them well, especially considering who knows how long until they have their top receivers back going forward. But in this game, they need to continue to get the ball to the open guy. I think a lot of this game just rides on, in terms of offense, that is, rides on Ryan Tannehill protecting the ball, which he's done a good job of in this first half. He had a much better half so far today, he has, as opposed to the last 2 halves he played, obviously. And continuing to scheme guys open and just out play call their defense. Todd Downing's done a decent job so far today. He's got to keep it up.
Yeah, gotta keep it up. That's a great phrase, or a good saying here to go into it as we wrap up here. Is you got to just stick with it. I don't think anything the Titans have been doing game plan wise has been bad. I think that they're doing well.
No.
Mac Jones has hit a couple throws. They're going to get something lucky here. It's going to be a lucky break for them. Not lucky, but they're working too hard on defense to not have something fall into their hands and do something there. Offensively, I think that again, I've been happy with overall the flow and the game plan from Downing. And Tannehill just needs to hit a couple of these throws. I know they feel like you kind of every play you're like, God, this has to work out. They have to be perfect, but they're kind of set up with this when you have the skill players out that you do. And when you keep dropping like flies, I think Monty Rice is out for the game as well for the Titans defense. So this defensive front for the Titans have got to get going. The offensive line has got to keep the pressure off of Tannehill and like they're doing, and just keep it up, keep moving forward, and see what happens in the second half. So, Easton, thank you so much for joining me today. I think we'll be around for the post game as well.
That's right.
Hopefully, my camera will be back and working by then, so everyone can enjoy my pretty gray bearded face as I
Yeah, go
speak.
get some batteries, Ryan. Come on.
Yeah, no kidding. I have no clue. I thought I charged it overnight. I guess maybe I didn't have it plugged in. So everything's looking good so far. Thank you, Chance, for joining in. Join us for the post game. This has been Halftime Hits, brought to you by Broadway Sports. Check us out at BroadwaySportsMedia.com.